Good afternoon, good evening. Hola! Welcome to Uplifting Conversations that set your heart on fire. My name is Sarah Wade, and I'm an agent of change, an art lover, a nature lover, and I'm here with my co-host from Calgary, Canada. This is Mr. Neil Thrussell.
Thank you, Sarah. My name is, as Sarah said, my name is Neil Thrussell. I am a life coach, author, and I'm trying to. My goal is to help the 9 to 5ers, those the passionate personal people that are in. Oh, I can't even say passionate personal in professional places to live a life on fire. I'm just super hopped up and excited to have our guest on today.
Yeah, and joining us, as Neil said, our guest today is Dre McLaughlin. And Dre is joining us from, as Australians say, Brisbane, but the rest of the world may know it as Brisbane in Queensland, Australia. Welcome, Dre. It's nice to have you.
Hey, Sarah. Hey, Neil. Just want to say a massive thank you to you guys for having me on. So I'm really excited. And you guys need to tell me your secret. So, Sarah, every time I see you, you just get more beautiful. And Neil, you just get more handsome every time as well. What's the secret? What's the secret? Yeah.
I've got a golden light going from within, personally. I don't know about you, Neil. Have you got a golden light also?
Absolutely. But if we told you the absolute secret, you'd have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to attend our workshop, and then we'd have to kill you.
I mean, we're okay with that, sorry. So Dre is actually a personal branding consultant, and we're going to be chatting to today about a few things. To be honest, I'm going to be taking off soon because I'm in the middle of a course, and I've just ducked out to introduce the show and to say hi because I love you guys, I value you, and I know that you get value from this. And Dre, I'm curious, like when you think about how your life has changed professionally. I mean, I know a bit about your story, but I'm wondering if you could share a bit with those who don't know you.
Yeah, so originally I'm from the UK, so a place called Chiswick, which is West London. I've been in Australia for about 13 years, and I moved over for love. So I met an Australian girl over in London. This was about 2006, and then 2008 happened, and at that time, I was selling buy-to-let and commercial finance to property investors, and she was a beauty therapist, and she was on a working holiday visa. So I got made redundant due to the GFC, the global financial crisis. And at the time, she said to me, Dre, I'm going to be going back to Australia. Are you coming with me? And I said, babe, I absolutely love you to bits, but there's no way I'm going to Australia. So have you guys seen the movie Crocodile Dundee?
Yes.
Yeah, so I thought Australia was like that. And I thought if I go to Australia, I'm going to end up dying with all the snakes, the sharks, the spiders, the crocs, and, the drop bears I've heard are really dangerous. So
I was going to mention those, yeah.
Yeah. And I came over for a holiday, went to the Sunshine Coast, went to the Gold Coast, and just absolutely fell in love with the place. And I can't believe most people, well, I can because it's the other side of the world, but most people don't live here because it's just, I love waking up in the morning, the sun's shining in Brisbane anyway, Brisbane, Queensland, for probably 300 days of the year. And it's a really relaxed vibe and everyone's really friendly and says hello. And I just absolutely love it. So my career is, I went to uni. After I finished uni, I studied computers. And I thought, okay, that's not really something that I can't actually see myself sitting in front of a computer for the rest of my life, even though I actually do that quite a lot with what I do now, which is, ironic. But yeah, my background's in recruitment and sales, and I absolutely love what I do and love helping people or inspiring people to take action towards their goals. So that's what I'm all about. That's my mission.
A beautiful thing to share with us, right? I appreciate that you got on that journey and fell in love with Australia. I was born here, so I've got a natural predisposition to loving my country. And I can guarantee you there are not crocodiles everywhere, just like you may see on Crocodile Dundee. This is not a knife, this is a pen. And this pen is going to be for knowledge and growth. And I know that there might be people out there who may like to pick up their pens, whether you're watching it live or in replay, and jump on it and take some notes, because what Dre's going to share may just change your life. So Curious because a few years ago, I was thinking about your post a couple of days ago with the. I trust you've seen my comment now about we got to smells, and a few years ago it came into my consciousness about the value of smell and how much our smell can actually set us up for success. And that was something that you put into your 5 photos recently. And I'm just curious, how do you smell today?
I smell pretty good because I had a shower about an hour ago. I put some deodorant on. I don't have any cologne on, but I'm not sure. I've got a couple of bottles just up there. But your scent, the way that you smell, is extremely important. So I know that when I used to work in real estate and in recruitment, because you dress up really fancy, so you'd be wearing like a shirt, tie, suit, and you feel like really good. But I was one of those type of people that would just get basically the whole bottle of cologne and just spray it everywhere. Yeah. That's not nice for other people because you're basically just stinking out the room, but you're thinking that you smell like really good. And it's you just need to put it on your pulses, like on there, just a bit of a dab, just a sprinkle, just a little sprinkle.
And it's almost like you're sprinkling confidence when you smell good, would you say?
I love that. I'm stealing that one, definitely, 100%.
So what you're saying is I'm not supposed to take my manly Axe soap, my Axe shampoo, my Axe deodorant, my Axe, and bathe in it and lather myself completely and then say, "Hi, my name is Neil."
I don't reckon. Is that a bit similar to like Old Spice or Lynx? That kind of. Yeah, definitely not. Then definitely not. No.
or any of these strong masculine scented products.
Yeah, I think if you feel confident though, Neil, as long as you're not bathing in it, if you feel confidence with that, and you just give yourself a little spritz of confidence, why not use it? But don't go swimming in it before you catch up with people.
Definitely need to be self-aware. Yeah, self-aware of what's going on. Yeah.
And it's interesting, I think, because sorry, Neil, I've just interrupted you. I just feel like it's something that a lot of people neglect when they go out, or whether they're having that job interview, or whether they're catching up with friends, whether they're doing one thing or another. That smell may be neglected, whether that you don't even think about putting something on or not. And even so, having that smell when you're alone, like why not dress up for yourself? Why not smell good for yourself and exude that confidence?
I love that. Yeah, that's great. And it's I think your internal world reflects your outer world. So if you're feeling good inside, then that's going to reflect and radiate with everyone that you come across and speak to. So I love that. Yeah.
Neil.
And equally just as important is if you're a physical person and you need to look after your body and your body smells, if you're an active person, you don't show up to an interview, even if you're a personal trainer, all sweaty and all just finished a 10-kilometer run and go, "Hi, my name's Neil. I'm here for the job." There might be a chance that you won't get it.
Yeah, so can I just interrupt for a second? So what I used to do is, I'm just thinking back, when I used to go for job interviews, I always used to get there super early, and especially in Australia because it's so hot, and I am a sweater, or I used to sweat like really profusely. So I'd always get there really early, I'd try and get underneath some shade or get in some aircon, and then I'd, compose myself, and I'd look at like my CV, the job description, and just try and calm myself down before I was ready to walk into that interview, probably about 10 minutes before it was due. So yeah, making sure that you definitely don't want to walk into a place where you're all sweaty and stinking, because that is definitely not a good look. It's not going to help your chances.
Great.
And for those of you in Canada and we're just about to go into winter, it's the opposite. You need to warm up before you go and shake someone's hand because they're not fond of the cold ice cube hands.
Yeah, and interesting studies show that it's a perception that people have when you reach out and shake that person's hand. Although we're not really doing that this much COVID days, we're sort of maybe doing elbow bump or just looking at each other and nodding or something. But there is that, when you have a cold hand and you produce it to someone else, subconsciously they get that cold feeling. Whereas if you're in there warm and generous, they feel that, oh, that's a nice, warm, generous touch. I think I might like this person. And that's a great way to start out that meeting.
That's so true. So you've just reminded me, like shaking hands, there's so many people that can't shake hands properly. So there's quite a few people that do the, like the wet fish.
I know that's
really like, that infuriates me. It's it needs to be I can't do it myself, but just really, really firm, have a good grip and just a really good hold, and then make sure that you look the person directly in the eyes and smile. So not too deep, don't go too far with looking them in the eyes. You don't want it to be creepy, but just look them in the eyes and not like that, not like that. And, just a nice warm smile, inviting smile. So important. So first impressions count because you only get one chance to make a good first impression, and that's the first thing that we notice, which is our body language, the other person's body language.
And I think I as a woman, and well, as a Sarah, I notice people's eyes. I notice their smiles, and between you, me, the fence post, and YouTube, and everybody watching us live on Facebook and StreamYard now, I look at shoes. I look at if this person is up top looking good. What about down here? Or, are they matching or mismatching? Is there something maybe that they're hiding? Or is there something that they're just being true to themselves? Is it just me? Or do you guys do that too?
Yeah. Sarah, is that the first thing that you notice as a woman? Like, so say, for instance, if I take the context out of it and say it's in a kind of a romantic situation, like when you're, looking at a guy to see if like he's attractive, what would you look at first? What would be like the first top 3 things that you'd
honestly eyes,
eyes,
smile, and depending on the situation, what they're wearing. If we were I met my ex in the bush, and I looked at his feet, and he was barefoot and grounded, and that was really attractive to me because he was so confident in that environment. I too was barefoot and covered in mud, and we had a lovely start to our relationship as he threw me into this pile of mud. And it was because I felt confident that he felt confident, and the lack of shoes was perfect for that situation.
Confidence is a big one. So actually, like just earlier on this morning, I put a post up saying, what is the most attractive thing in a person, or what do you look for? And I haven't been through all the comments, but confidence, was a lot. There was eyes, there was authenticity. Just some really good comments, really good comments. So I'm going to have to check those. I think it's up to about 60 comments from my last look.
And it's interesting, confidence is a visual, but it's also it encompasses your energetic system, because you come into contact with someone that's confident, their body posture, the way they're holding themselves, they could be dressed in rags, but they exude that confidence. They're projecting it energetically. You would follow them. And there could be a person in a power suit and they don't project that confidence, then you may be less likely to follow them.
Yeah, that's right. So you've got me thinking. So depending on what situation that you're in, if you're in a job interview, then I guess you should kind of come across a bit submissive. So what I mean by that is that, so if you've got the key decision maker, if they're talking to you, if you slightly tilt your head to the left, that shows subconsciously that you're engaged very so slightly in what they're saying. That shows that you're that you're slightly interested. However, if there is a meeting between, I guess, you really need to be self-aware, like I guess 2 equal people, and it's like a business meeting, then you need to show that you're at the same level. that that this is going to be a fair exchange, and it's going to be 50-50, and everyone's going to walk away a winner. So a win-win-win. Does that make sense? Does that?
Does win-win. It reminds me of dogs. You can tell when a dog's curious because they do the cock neck. They're what's going on? Beautiful eyes, and just look at you like, oh. But we do that too. As you were speaking, I don't know if you noticed it or not, but my head was naturally tilted. I was looking at you, my head tilting to the left. He's talking about my head off to the left because I am generally interested in that which you have to share, Dre. You've got some amazing things, and I know that personal branding can go everywhere. For, as you mentioned, from job interviews to being in the relationship of your dreams to any aspect of life. And I'm curious, guys who are watching live, do you know what your personal brand is? If you're watching this in replay, drop it down in the box. Let us know. What do you give to the world? I know in the past, I used to come across as a punk. I came across as a hippie. I've come across as corporate. I've come across as all sorts of things. And always what's remained true is me. I'm always myself. It's just that the clothes may look different over time. So when you're not in your normal clothes, like if you're working a lot and you're spending a lot of time in your work clothes, or vice versa, if you're spend a lot of time not in work clothes, whether you be in a chef's uniform or whatever that is, how do you know what you are when you're dressed for anything? When you're not naked, but when you're dressed for anything, how do you align with yourself?
Oh, that is a great question. A really great question. So for me personally, it's just, I guess I know like my strengths, I know my weaknesses, I believe in myself, I know who I am. I wouldn't say totally know like who I am, because we're always evolving, growing, learning, developing. But I'm very comfortable like in my own skin, and the way that I show up online, the way that I show up offline, if I was to meet a new person or like an old friend, then I treat everyone the same, and you can expect the same from me. So you probably know that you get some really terrible dad jokes or something for me. But I love that question. That's a really, really great question. Really great question.
Thank you. Neil?
What about you guys? What would you say? Yeah.
For me, because I've had a few more life lessons than you, whatever, doesn't matter what I'm dressed in. There's some core values, beliefs, and a way of being that show up no matter what. One, I love to have fun. One, I'm a compassionate, loving, warm-hearted person, and lots of times I'm not empathetic, but I am truly open to the experience that you're going through, because sometimes I don't understand it, but I'm open to what you are going through, and I love to have fun.
You do. I love watching your stories and interacting with you, Neil, because you do have fun, and it just goes to show, even if you're a fossil like Neil, you can still have fun. And realistically, for me, I think it's about my energy. The energy that I bring is consistent. It doesn't matter what I'm wearing, and okay, I have bad days too, but I'm always present. I'm always listening, and I always give a shit. That's me. It doesn't matter who I'm with, I care. And on that note, I have a dad joke for you. So I am going to head off soon, but I was thinking about energy just then. And one of my sisters told me this joke when it was her first ever joke, and it's stuck with me ever since. So I'm curious if you know why do bees hum? Because they don't know the words. So if you don't know the words, come along, be you. Just enjoy that energy that you're providing others, because you, that one bee, is part of a huge community and tribe, and you're creating good things. And I'd love to hear I'd love to hear another dad joke before I head off.
Okay, is that my cue, or is that Neil? Is that me? Okay. What have I got for you? All right. So this morning I went to the gym, and after the gym I thought, okay, I'll go for a run. So I went to a park, and the park is it's just like an oval round park. And then I started walking around, and then I started, a little jog, and then out of nowhere there was a bicycle that started to follow me, and it was chasing me. And I was going faster. The bike was going faster, and it was like, those movies where the cars are like tail to tail, like those action movies, or it's like that. So we're going round and round and round and round, and I thought, this is a vicious cycle.
Oh
wow! Okay, that was not the reaction that I was looking for.
That one was pretty good. That one, kudos.
I can imagine that Facebook's just going to be popping up with hearts all over that on our YouTube channel that people just liked just because of that dad joke and the rest of the content. There's going to be so much love happening. Neil, have you got a dad joke for us?
No, I'm still going in the vicious cycle. It's like just gone. I love it. So I'd like to come back to when we don't know what it is that we exude in all aspects of our life. Just ask those, carefully ask those that love you and can compare you, and ask that question. What do you see that carries through all of my, all the hats that I wear? What attributes, what personalities do you see? It's like, I don't know Dre very well, but I see a gigantic smile, a heart open person, and a person willing to learn and willing to go, I don't know. And I don't know him. We haven't sat at a bar and had a drink or a coffee or that. But the times we've interacted in that, this is what easily comes across.
I agree. Yeah. Do you see that in yourself too, Dre?
So just on top of what Neil was saying, it's if you don't know what, I guess, your superpower is, or your USP, which is your unique selling proposition, then being careful, like, who you ask, like, what is it, what value do I have to offer, and what do you see in me? And then if you ask, like maybe 10 people, there's going to be a common theme that will keep coming up and coming up and coming up. And then definitely work to your strengths as well. That would be like the easiest way to climb the ladder. Yeah, that's what I'd say. Yeah. What about you, Sarah?
And Sarah, to me, is a playful wood nymph. She just loves to. She just comes alive when you talk to her about being in nature, and it's like, boom, the energy just radiates. And you talk to her about sitting in a city, and it's like somebody from the Wizard of Oz, where they pour the water on the witch, she just melts and crumbles. It's just, you talk about nature, she is just happy.
Nature is my happy place. Nature is an amazing spot to be. I actually celebrated my 40th birthday on Halloween. And I spent a week away in nature. I spent a week in one of my favorite parts of the world. I was immersed in the beauty of the landscapes that the Margaret River region provides, the smell of the sea salt, the environment is just filled with amazing surfers and people who are just smiling and just living their best lives and living that absolute quality life. And it was sublime. It was a beautiful experience. And I look forward to doing it daily because I live really close to a park, and every day I go for walks in nature because it fills me with joy. It grounds me and it gives me that zest for life that I can do anything afterwards. I can come from a bad space and get out into nature and know I can take my shoes off or not if I choose, and feel wonderful because nature is freaking awesome. Do you guys have that experience with nature too?
Sarah, Yeah, Sarah, were you telling a bit of a lie then? I'm sure you said that you were 40. I thought it would have been like 30.
I love you a little bit more now, Dre. Yeah, I'm 40.
Yeah, you look really good. Really good.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Dre, you started out in helping individuals with their personal branding so that they could get that job, they could succeed in that part of them. But it appears that you've moved to more of an entire branding exercise. Is is there similarities in those for you, or
Yeah.
how did you go from A to B where you are now?
Yeah, so working in recruitment, I've worked with school kids, I've worked with directors of companies, I've worked with senior level, all the different levels. And getting into coaching, I was working with people that, have been like maybe made redundant or lost their jobs, and they're just looking to get back into work. And what I've transitioned into now is helping people that want to be, it's kind of two different ends of the spectrum. So helping people that want to be, the go-to person in their industry, someone that's credible, someone that's seen as an influencer, someone that's seen as a thought leader, and they just really want to be like number one, or like the top three. So that's something that I can, I guess, relate to, because one of the best things that happened, and why I decided to make that transition, is that I took on a client, and he said to me, Dre, there's a couple of things that I want. I won't tell you what number one was, but number two was, I want to be the number one in my industry. And I said, yeah, that's awesome. I said, it's not going to be easy. I'm going to be pushing you as hard as possible. It's going to be uncomfortable. And then he just turned around to me and said, Dre, I'm going to be pushing you as well as hard as possible. And I was like, for me, that was like, okay, I want to be working more with people like you. So I still help him with his resume, his cover letters, like networking documents, absolutely everything. But there's just a bit more to what we do. So that's something that really, I guess, sets me on fire.
I love that. And it still seems like a natural progression, knowing your background and knowing that you've done this sort of unconsciously, perhaps with people as they've been, applying for work. It seems like a natural progression for you. So well done for your continual growth.
Yeah, thank you.
On that, I am going to take off now, and I'm going to continue my growth and get back to the certification that I am currently attending. I appreciate you both very, very much. Just as I appreciate the audience, thank you so much for joining us. Whether you were watching us live like Enoch was, thank you so much for your comment. I appreciated that. And if you're watching this in replay, give us some love. And I'm going to love you and leave you on that note. You take care.
Right, see you, Sarah. Thank you.
All right, love you a lot. So, is maybe an unfair question, but what are 2 or 3 tips that because there's, in lots of times, I'm the owner of my own company, or an entrepreneur, and yet I suspect there's very similar things for my personal brand, my corporate brand. What are some of the things that I can do to improve both of them that would help both aspects?
Okay, I guess the first thing would be identifying like your different audiences, and what your niche is, what your target is, and also what your messaging, because your messaging is probably going to be slightly different for each one. That's what I'd say. And then once you know that, it's what value are you able to offer. So what we were saying before, if you've got Neil, and then you've got Joe Blogs, Derek, Sally, Mary, like all lined up. What is it that makes Neil different? Why would I want to choose Neil compared to all the other people? So that's like the value. So I know that, Neil, that you are someone that will always go above and beyond for everybody. So I know that's your value. But anyone else that is, you know, that's watching, I know you've got more value than that. But anyone else, but anyone else that's watching, it's just trying to figure out what makes you different and why people would want to choose you compared to Joe Blogs. Because in today's age, there's so much competition out there, and if you can work out how to separate yourself from the competition, you're going to be in a league of your own, and you'll just be able to dominate whatever you decide to or choose to do.
So what I'm hearing is, so from a place of without ego, I need to look inside of me to figure out what makes me unique, and then take that uniqueness and make it my superpower. I think I heard you use that word, and make that so that I can share that superpower with the world. Yeah,
so it's being you, so being your authentic self, because I believe that your vibe attracts your tribe. So your vibe attracts your tribe, and that's just so powerful. So be you, be awesome, and everything will work out. But you do need to put in the work and practice. You need to develop or acquire new skills, and then just keep learning, developing, growing.
Have you ever? There's a movie called The Secret. Have you seen it? It was actually an Australian.
There's a book. I've got the book just here.
Ron, one of the downfalls of The Secret is they told you to have all of these, but they didn't ask you to put the work in. You know, just to have the vision in that, and then you could sit back. So they didn't do anyone justice. And what Dre had just said is, you can have all your goals and aspirations, you still need to put the energy and the efforting into it. But you also, I believe, need to be open to this or something better. I want to make $1 million. But if somebody offered you $2 million or offered you $1 million in 6 months rent free in a mansion, are you going to say no?
Yeah, I love that. So just on the Secret, that book changed my life. So I was living in a shed. I was probably about 24, 25 in the back of my parents' garden or house. Yeah, garden. And it was winter time. So winter in England, you know, there's snow, and it was a wooden shed, and half of the shed had like just furniture and junk and garden tools. The other half was, I'd probably say the other quarter, I had like a bed, TV, like a stereo. And I was at a very low place in my life. And one of my mates came along and said, Dre, I've read this book. I think if you read it, it's really going to help you. So I read the book and I just couldn't put it down. I was like, what do you mean? Just think positive. What? This doesn't make any sense. And I kept reading it and reading it. And I was at a place where I just didn't want to get out of bed, didn't want to do anything. I was probably like drinking, smoking, all that sort of stuff. And then just one morning after reading the book, I thought, okay, I'm going to go for a walk. So I went for a walk, went around the local park, and then that was the first day. And the second day, I went for another walk, and I thought, okay, I'll do a bit of a jog. And it was just the next day, I was just doing a bit more and more and more. And I started to feel better about myself. So your physiology affects your psychology. So your physiology affects your psychology. So for me, that was it just completely changed things.
And it's amazing because that's one of the cures for depression. Just move.
Yes.
And you didn't know it at the time, just moving. And yes, the book was catalyst to get you off the couch, but also kudos to your parents, because it appears in that story they had some tough love going on. It's like 20 feet away was a nice warm house, but you couldn't enter the nice warm house because whatever was going on. So whether you probably had some choice words for them and thoughts at the time, but in hindsight, to me, that comes across as tough love.
It probably wasn't that bad. It was so where I think like the place that I was at, I just really wanted to be like by myself. So I'd have to go into the house if I wanted to, I guess do like a number two.
Yeah.
My parents probably don't know this, but for the number one, I'd go in the garden, and I'd always lie that I'd never went in the garden. So sorry, mum, sorry, dad. And yeah, and like having dinner, so I'd have to go into the house. Like I'd take my like dinner plate. I'd be freezing, and then I'd just sit, just like watching like TV and just feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah. But your mom's roses were probably the best they were at that year.
They bloomed the next season. Yeah.
And it's amazing because when you sit in this place where you are now, of you where you can honor and recognize your past, you can look and go, that lesson, though I didn't like it, was still one of the best things for you.
Definitely. It's when you are going through like hard, tough times, you can go to a really dark place and you can't see any way out. So it's for me, it was I had like friends. So I had my mate that gave me the book, and I read a couple of books. But yeah, the key is what you were saying, Neil. It's just moving. So a big part of my life is I have to go to the gym in the mornings, and I know when I go to the gym, that sets off my day. So I know that I'm going to have either a great day or a better day than if I didn't go to the gym, because energetically I just feel completely different.
And that's a great segue, because if you become friends with Dre on Facebook, you will notice very regularly he is posting him going to the gym. And you will also notice that there's a bit of humor as he's going to the gym with it. Not every time, but I think every time you do, actually, it's a dad joke, and it's a new dad joke. Some of them make you go like this, but some of them are like, oh, that's good.
So every morning, I didn't do it yesterday, but most mornings I'll go to the gym and I'll deliver a dad joke. Some are really, really terrible. And the funny thing is, I'm obsessed with dad jokes. I just love it because it makes me feel good, and I know that it will either give the other person either a laugh or a groan or a smile or something. And I think it's a good way to start the day off. But after the dad joke, then I normally try and give a bit of value on my story. So it's,
Absolutely. And in most cases, dad jokes are just, they're great. We had another guest, Scott McDermott, who's my running coach, that was on the show, and I'm like, we need to get you and Scott on the same show just for the dad jokes, because it makes it fun. Like, we as humans, I believe we take ourselves way too serious. So I believe we need to find, and I need to find opportunities to have more fun. In my personal life, my dad worked for the government, 4 kids. So government, he worked for the provincial government, which would be the same as the state government. And in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, while I was growing up, there was not a lot of money. There was hardly any. So life felt hard and felt difficult. So I turned that difficulty into humor, to be the class clown, to be the one to make people laugh. And I still like to make people laugh, but it's from not a place of insecurity where it was in the beginning, because I've always been skinny, and I was like a starving person that you could see in all of those pictures, this little stick thing with no muscles and no nothing. And that's just how I was growing up. So I was so self-conscious that I would try to laugh everything off. And now life is just intended to be enjoyable and fun.
I love that you said that about when growing up and you were doing it because of insecurity. So that's something that I realized earlier on this year, that's the reason that I was being the class clown and doing that, doing the same thing. Can I ask you a question? About a month ago, how did you go with the marathon? Was it the half marathon?
It was a full marathon. I ran 42.2 kilometers, and I finished it, and thank you. But I didn't. And when I crossed the finish line, I immediately was disappointed because it wasn't a personal best. It was 30 minutes slower than I had ever run any marathon. But within milliseconds after, I realized, holy, insert bunch of bad swear words. I had numerous health concerns prior to running, and I wasn't sure whether the doctors would let me run this. And I just completed it at 59 years old. And I'm like, I was so pumped up. Like I had tears in my eyes. I was just like, yes. And yes, I was disappointed in my time. But yes, I was loving my body because it carried me 42.2 kilometers.
That is amazing. Do you know, I can't even imagine. I know I definitely can't run that far. Actually, I don't want to. I could. But yeah, how many marathons have you done?
I have done 3. And they say 1% of North America, all of North America, has done a marathon. So I've entered the top 1% in North America, and now I have done 3. So I'm either further into that.
Yeah, you're right. You're number one. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Can I ask one more question? So, what is it that you love about the marathons and what is it that you love about doing it?
Running, to me, certain distances become meditative. So it's a form of meditation because your body is just moving and it's just automatronic. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot. It's just going. And so my mind clears because as soon as you start to bring in other thoughts, your rhythm goes off. You start to worry about what's going to happen. Look at my watch. It's like, what am I doing? But as soon as I'm running, it's just a very calm place. And I personally, the first 2 kilometers when I'm running distances, I'm always questioning, what the hell am I doing? This is stupid. And then when I'm in my training runs, it's the last 2 kilometers because I haven't run the distance of the last 2 kilometers again because I always increase by 2 kilometers. And I'm going, what have I done? But at the marathon, it's the last 2 kilometers that I'm going, oh my God, 40 kilometers I've just passed. My body has just gone there. And the testosterone and all the endorphins that are just coursing through your body. When you cross that finish line, most runners will tell you, you can't help but have this sense of elation and accomplishment because the testosterone is leaving you. And that's really left you with the feminine energies of estrogen and progesterone. And it's in your body. So you just want to weep in happiness.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah.
And thank you for asking. It to me, it's so meditative. Like you go to the gym and I go, okay, so I'm pumping iron or doing something. And it's like, yes, to me, that's work. Running isn't work.
Yeah. So you're thinking about nothing, or you're just thinking about that next step? Or is it you just go into like a trance, or you?
It depends. Like sometimes I'm just looking engrossed in the scenery because I'm running on a beautiful path in a river valley, and it's just drinking in the beauty. There's no thoughts. Other times it's when it's late in the run, all it is foot, 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 left, right, left, right, left, right, left, and it just becomes nothing. That's all you are, is completely in there.
It's really impressive. Yeah, I've always wanted to do one, but I know that I'm not going to do one. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm built for short distance, but I think it's incredible. Like you've not just one, not just two. You've done three,
Yeah.
3 marathons.
That being said, it's like anything. Okay, whatever. So you have a financial goal. Pick a number. Let's say you want to make $1 million.
Yeah.
And let's say then you want to make $1 million. Okay, fine. Then your coach is going to say, okay, let's really work at this and let's do it in 9 months and I'll help you along the way. To put that pressure, to put that in it. Running, as long as your knees and your joints are healthy, a running coach can get you, as long as you're willing to do the work, to the finish line. And just like a personal development, a branding coach, if I'm willing to do the work and I'm hiring you to do it and I am following what you're telling me and I'm working and interacting and we're really on track and on strategy and adjusting as we go, you're going to give me the best brand that I can, and you are going to help me achieve, as my coach, all the goals and everything possible.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. You need to be committed. If you're committed, then you'll get the results. So you've absolutely nailed it there. So yeah, commitment. So yeah. So for a marathon, I'm not committed. So
absolutely. It's in anything in life. If you really want it, when your why is big enough, you will go.
Yes,
and
totally agree.
I think one of the when I take on a coaching client, I'm always digging for what it is and why, to get them from the superficial. Well, I want to make $1 million. Well, the next question is, what does that $1 million mean to you? What is it? And it's when it means financial freedom, or it means that I can have my kids and I can do something with my kids full time. When it's that meaningful, then we as coaches can do something.
Yeah, it's just going those extra levels and just getting to the root cause of that.
Yeah. Absolutely, because that's the power of a great coach. We all know good coaches. There's lots of good coaches out there. But I highly encourage you not to get a good coach. Screw them. Get a phenomenal, freaking awesome coach, and who's doing and done what you want to do and knows how to get it.
Yeah. And it's all about what you were saying before, asking the right questions. So I believe questions are the answers. And it's a coach that, has walked the footsteps that you, or the path that you want to take. And then asking you those questions where it can generate the answer in yourself. And you go, okay, I get it. Like light bulb. Yeah.
Yeah.
So also, I just want to quickly say, I love your passion and Sarah's passion, for this show. So what you guys have been doing is amazing. How long's the show been going on for now?
The show is almost a year. We started in February, and I had a different co-host for a year, and Jamie needed a change, so he moved, because he wanted entirely a business focus, and I wanted it can be business, but I wanted a personal development action to it. And in his program that he's currently running, it's a great program, he calls it all the woo-woo stuff, and I want the woo-woo stuff, because I believe you have to change the inner game first, and it's the inner game that controls the outer game.
Yes. Yeah. So do you know what? In the last couple of years, I'm going to say that I'm a secret woo-woo, and I'm just finding that more woo-woo and the people that I'm attracted to, there's a lot more. So the women that I live with, like my best friend, like Jen, she's an energy healer, Reiki, emotion code. One of my coaches that I worked with, she's into human design, and she's very woo-woo. So my closest people to me are woo-woo. So I'm loving the woo-woo.
And I'll give away a secret here. The best business coaches, the very best of the best, all turn to adjusting your inner game first. They will tell you how to manage your money. They will tell you how to run your business, set the corporation and everything, get your branding, but they're always going to making sure that your inner game is working first.
Yeah. So as we were saying before, your inner game reflects like your outer game, your external world. So, and people are going to be attracted to you. So things are going to be a lot easier. So,
yeah.
That.
And then it comes back to what Dre had talked about in the very beginning, or Sarah did. How do we project that confidence? So we're dressing for success. We've had the shower before we go into a meeting. If you're meeting a client, we're it's important because what we see, what we smell, what we hear, nothing throws an interview quite badly when you're disheveled, you haven't showered, and then you pass gas in the interview. You can probably say your interview chances are next to nil.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the word. So I'm looking at our time here. So what other would you love to share? This is unscripted.
Sure.
What would you like to share? Because this will go on to YouTube. This goes on to iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play. There's one more in there, and it's on Facebook on a replay. What would you like to share if I'm going to shine a spotlight on Dre and just unscripted? What would you like to share with our?
What I would love to share is a Tom Bilyeu quote. So it doesn't matter who you are today. It only matters who you want to become and how hard you're willing to work to bridge that gap. So if you want to be up here and you feel you're down here, then you need to put in the work to get you up to there. And it's all about being consistent, having those daily habits, those rituals, that discipline to do things when you really don't want to do them and you're not feeling like doing them. So for instance, Neil's like training for, like for marathons, and I'm sure there's going to be days where he's like, I don't fancy this. I don't really want to do it, but he'll get up and he'll run and he'll practice. So practice is the mother of skill. The more that you do something, it's going to become ingrained in you and it's going to be easy. So your is it competence? Was it competence? There's 4 things. I can't remember the name. But it's just going to be
competence.
That's it. Yeah. Yes. I was like blah 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 blah.
We've all been there.
And it's just gonna make everything. It's just gonna be you. And then once you've mastered that skill, then it's just mastering a new skill. So it's all about like self mastery. So that's probably what I'd leave on. I've got probably just so many things that I'd want to say, and also I'll just leave with this. It's about understanding who you are, like the value that you can offer, and being yourself. I can't stress that enough. So most people are worried about how they might come across or being judged or ridiculed. But those people that you think, so a lot of the time it's in our heads anyway, and a lot of those people don't even matter. So if you have a goal, if there's something, an outcome that you want to achieve, then just be focused on that goal. Do what you need to do to get there. Make sure that you get support. So if you get support, or if you get a coach or a mentor, they're going to help get you to where you want to be a lot quicker. So I know that in the past, I have made those mistakes where I thought, I don't want to spend the money, I'll do it myself, trying to figure it out. And I probably could have saved years if I would have had someone guide me there, that would have said, okay, look, you're probably going to come up against this obstacle, this challenge. Here's how you navigate around it. I would have saved so much time. So if there's something that you really want, go out and get it, and yeah, and you can do it.
Thank you. And I realized I wanted to ask you another question prior to us wrapping it up. So I was on Dre's show like a month ago. You did 130 interviews in one 24-hour period, something crazy like that. How was that for you?
Yeah, so first I want to say thank you for coming on, and also delivering the value and the dad jokes. So it was 107. So I was aiming for 120, and it was 107 podcast guests that I had on, which was just incredible. So I had people that were talking about absolutely crazy things to do with like your career. So we had women on there that were talking about menstrual cycles and all these things that I would have thought, okay, I don't really see how that's related to, to your career or your job search, but it was. And what I'm most proud of, one, for staying awake. So I'm the type of person that will fall asleep absolutely everywhere. But it was the people that just came on, delivered value, and it was just so much fun. My job was made easier by everyone. So it was a great experience. Probably wouldn't do it again. I'd probably go like 12 hours. But it was, one of the best things that I've done. And I'm just so proud of the people that came on, shared the value, and it was just fun all the way through. It was just really fun.
So is there a way to watch any of the replays, or is that coming out later?
Yeah, so we're in the process of doing individual episodes for everybody. It is on my YouTube channel. It's session 1, which is 12 hours, and session 2, which is the next 12 hours. So it ran from 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. and then 6 p.m. till 6 a.m. Yeah,
since I don't have the link, the easiest way is to befriend Dre and then ask for the link, and he'll gladly share it with you. So as we wrap this up, I want to thank our wherever you're tuning in from. My friend Enoch was in Africa. I see we've got some other guests. I've got a Terry in the metropolis of in BC. My friend Carl, and I think that's all who's signed on to say. I want to say thank you for showing up and being part of our journey. And so no matter where you're turning on in the world, whether it's day, night, afternoon, whatever time zone you are in, thank you for coming on board, and know that you are loved, you are blessed, and we're honored that you joined us in the journey with us.